So welcome again to our webinar on the student panel, Study Abroad Experiences. And I first just want to thank our 4 panelists for being able to take time out of their afternoon to join us and share about their experiences, as well as Kayla Klaus from my office, who is going to be the moderator. So thank you all for helping with this. And thank you to all our participants for joining us for this webinar. We really hope that it will be beneficial for you and that you can learn a lot from their experiences as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started with introductions from each of the panelists. And then after that, we will get into actually doing the part with the questions after we do the introductions. So we have our first panelist is Maica Parge, and she's going to introduce herself and share a little bit about herself.
Hello guys, my name is Maica. I'm a senior and my major is art and my minor is Japanese. So naturally I went to study abroad in Japan. I studied abroad at Kansai Gaidai for just 1 semester, and yeah, it was super fun.
Okay, thank you, Maica. And our second student panelist is Benjamin Rush.
Hi, my name's Benjamin Rush. I'm a super senior studying mechanical engineering and working on a minor in Spanish. My wife and I did a summer travel seminar in Paraguay, and yeah, it was a fantastic time down there. We absolutely loved it and hope to be traveling back down there again in the future.
Okay, thank you. And our next panelist is going to be CJ Bruce, who studied in Austria.
Do you want to unmute yourself, CJ?
There we go. You hear me?
Yes.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is CJ Bruce. I'm actually a graduate of Wichita State University, and I did the Erasmus program at the University of Applied Sciences at Wiener Neustadt, Austria, fall of 2016, which would have been my junior year.
Okay, thank you, CJ. And our last panelist, we have Lydia, who studied abroad in France.
Hi, my name is Lydia, and I studied, as Anne said, in France, southwestern France, through the Global Entrepreneurship Experience Program. I went my summer of right after my junior year, so in 2019, and I'm going into my senior year as an accounting student. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Lydia. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and get the panel part started, and I just ask for any of the participants also just to keep yourselves muted, videos off, and we'll just have the panelists with their videos on, and Kayla will be our moderator, so she'll begin that part.
Hello guys, I'm Kayla Klaus and I will be the moderator. So I'm just going to get started with the first question that we have like to ask all of our panelists, which is what were your living arrangements like abroad, and was it difficult to adjust to the new environment? So whoever wants to start can go ahead and take it away.
Hello. Our living arrangements were we were living with locals down there. We actually had a host family that put us up. Since it was a summer seminar, it was only a week-long program. It was absolutely fantastic. We didn't have any issues adjusting at all. It was a beautiful house, beautiful older couple that put us up, and just absolutely loved them and their hospitality. It was fantastic.
They were phenomenal.
I can go next. My living arrangements were just a little dormitory that they have in France, right next to where the school was. I think, it was like a 15-minute bus ride to the school. And you get your own room that has a attached bathroom and a little kitchenette area. And that's just all your living space. But all of the other people that went on the trip with me from Wichita State were in either the same dormitory building or one that was like across the courtyard. So we were all in very close quarters. It was really nice to be able to be so close to the people you're going to school with and be able to get to know them better and, you know, have dinners together in people's rooms and get to know people that way.
For me, I actually stayed in a dormitory as well, but it was kind of like a apartment style. And so there were, I think it was only 4 or 5 other Americans who actually went on this program. So I actually stayed with another American who was from South Carolina. We had separate rooms, but it was a kind of an apartment style. So there was a kitchenette, of course, a bathroom, 2 rooms. And I want to say we were maybe 4 or 5 blocks down from the school. So every day we had a walk, of course. That was fun. But yeah, it wasn't too far. It was pretty cool living arrangements.
In Japan, I lived in a dorm. Kansai Gaida has 2 campuses, so they have the main campus, and then they have the second campus, which is the dorms. And so we lived mixed with other study abroad students and then also Japanese students. So we got a little bit of that culture exchange as well. As far as adjusting, it wasn't really hard. It was a nice way to ease into the culture, I felt like, than had I done like a homestay. So it was really nice. And we did have to walk to school on the main campus. It was 15 minutes though. And it was kind of fun to be able to walk with your classmates and talk to everybody. So I liked it.
Awesome, thank you guys. So our next question, why did you choose the specific study abroad program that you went on? And if maybe just 2 of you guys want to go ahead and answer this.
I can answer.
Go for it.
For this one, it was pretty random. Even me going, even studying abroad was pretty random. It all happened within the same day or the same weekend rather. I knew I wanted to go abroad, and so I went in and saw Miss Berger. And then that same day, we actually just did process of elimination, and I just narrowed it down from really. I started with the weather, so I didn't want to go anywhere that was going to be too cold. Yeah, so I just process of elimination, and we ended up with Austria, and it was the best choice possible.
We actually chose ours. We really wanted to we'd both been taking some Spanish classes and really wanted that immersion experience to help expand our language. And a regular semester-long study abroad doesn't really work for us. We have kids, full-time jobs, things like that, so we can't be gone for that long. And so
this provided the perfect alternative.
Being able to do one of the study abroad seminars, a little bit shorter time frames so that we were able to work into our schedule, and it was absolutely perfect for us.
Great, thanks guys. So the next question is actually going to be for CJ and Maica because you did an entire semester. How were you able to pack for the entire semester?
So it was really hard actually because I'm one of those people who needs to be over-prepared. So I wanted to take everything with me. And so I actually had my parents help me, like sit down with me and be like, okay, realistically, like how many outfits are you gonna wear in a week? And you can wash those and you can always buy more clothes there. So really I kind of packed a little bit minimalistically, I would say. Maybe then like I went kind of under the safe line, like maybe you should have done a little more. But I kind of just sat down and was like, okay, what do I do in a day? So what do I need daily? And then what do I do in a week? So what do I need weekly? Kind of like that. So that's what I did.
Oh, well, I brought everything. So I I brought everything. I just shoes, clothes. I had suitcases, duffel bags. I definitely paid that airplane fee to bring so much. But I don't know. I kind of felt like I needed that because I've never went anywhere like that before. I've never went abroad I've never taken a trip even that lasted a week long. So I didn't know what to expect. So I brought everything, and I didn't come back with as much. Yeah. So it was, I brought everything. I don't recommend that, but I brought everything.
Can I add something?
Mm.
I would say when you're packing, research the area you're going though, because in Japan, their places are tiny. So the dorms are tiny. So I'm glad that I packed minimalistically. Whereas like I feel like if you went to a European country or another country, it might be better because you might have more room to spread out. But yeah,
Yeah.
not in Japan.
I can definitely attest to that because I had closet space. I had somewhat of a dresser. I had a bookshelf. So yeah, I had plenty of room for everything.
Okay, thanks for those packing tips. The next question is for those of you who studied abroad to work on your language skills or learn a language. So which of you did that? And also what is the recommendation in your opinion of if you needed knowledge before you go, do you need to take classes at WSU in that language before?
For us, I wouldn't say it was necessary because you had the option with your host families to get either an English-speaking host family or one that only spoke Spanish. It definitely helps to have a little bit. That way you're able to pick up on a little bit more and learn more.
Especially when ordering food, because if you don't understand, what you're ordering, that'd be interesting.
You're going to have to find help with somebody in your group or a host or something to order food. But I mean, for our program that we went on, it wasn't necessary, but I definitely think it would help a lot.
For where I went, I would say the school says that you don't need it because they have their classes in English. However, I think that it's extremely beneficial to know at least a little bit of your language and to take at least 2 courses in the class because I don't know, personally, I feel like I would have had a lot of a worse time trying to live without the language, but also it kind of depends on the culture of the country you're going to.
Guys, so the next question is for Lydia. What are the French people like, and did you have any major culture shocks while in France?
For the most part, French people were really nice to us. I know there's a stereotype of being mean or snobby, but they were pretty nice to you if you're nice to them, like if you're not trying to be an annoying tourist. And we're also, where the program is located is not in like a huge metropolitan area. It's not in Paris. It's in southwestern France where there's a little more of a rural environment. People are a little more relaxed and nice, I thought. Something I was surprised by was the amount of people who were very fluent in English. It was mainly younger generations of people, but for the most part, whenever we went somewhere and we tried to, speak as much as we could of French, they would automatically speak to us in English and communicate that way. So, that's kind of how my experience was with French people. And adjusting to it, I mean, I don't think I had the program that I went on, you go with several people from Wichita State. So I didn't have the same culture shock as maybe other people might have going, into a different country, not knowing anyone, not really knowing the language or what the culture is like. So we really had that, home feel of the people from Wichita State that know the things and like you can kind of relate with a little more and feel like you're not so homesick. But something that did like shock me was just how laid back everything is there. If we say class starts at 8 o'clock, our French professor wouldn't get there till maybe 8:30, and then we would start class after that. He was very relaxed. We weren't really bound to specific schedule for anything, which was kind of nice to have that, feel like you were stressed out about making it somewhere on time if your bus was late or anything. They were very flexible with that.
Thank you, Lydia. So this question can just be for whoever wants to answer it. How were you able to immerse yourself in the culture?
I would say I just did it. I was, of course, you'll be nervous whenever you go out of the country. You get off those planes and all the signs are in different languages. You're going to be nervous, and it's going to be nerves and uncomfortableness. But really, I just jumped in. And I made sure that I had fun with it. I didn't want to get down on myself because everybody spoke German. I can't understand anything. So I had fun with it. I laughed at myself. I laughed at making mistakes. I didn't hesitate to ask questions if I needed help from someone. So you really just have to kind of throw yourself in there and be okay with being uncomfortable, you know, in a different culture like that.
Does anyone else want to answer that question?
When I went, because Japanese culture is extremely different from American culture, so I made sure I studied a lot. But then when I went, I felt kind of bad, but I kind of avoided the other American students. And like I would talk to them at my dorms, but then like outside, I'm like, I don't know you, bye. And so I would kind of go and talk to as many native speakers as I could and go do things by myself. So I would try to go travel and go shopping by myself and just like things that you would think would be daily life, because I knew those experiences would be different. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go buy my groceries by myself, which was terrifying. But and then like CJ said, just go into it with an open mind and have fun with it and try to laugh at your mistakes and not be so uptight about, okay, I'm gonna get this wrong.
Be
Great,
open to
thanks,
trying.
guys.
Oh, I would say be open to trying new stuff and don't be afraid of it. You know, a lot of them, especially with like food and things, you know, if you're just like, oh no, after you try it, you're just like, it's not really for me, then they weren't real pushy about it, you know, just be open to the experience.
And no matter what, don't be embarrassed because you can't speak the same language. They obviously know you don't. So have fun with it.
And they were real polite about it. You know, if you were cool with them and chilled, then they wouldn't really give you any grief about not speaking their language and would be, you know, work with you on it.
Okay, thank you. So maybe two of you can answer this one. What was the downtime like? Is it full-time classes and weekends free, or when did you mingle and really get to dive into the culture?
So my program was structured to where it was 3 days of class a week. So we would go to class Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then throughout the summer, we completed 2 full courses through WSU. So we had a weekend that was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday that you could go travel, or you could, stay in the Basque country and get to know France a little more. I made the choice to travel a lot. So on my weekends, we went all over. We went to Greece, Italy, Switzerland, Spain, England. I made it to Ireland and Denmark. So I did a lot of traveling. I didn't have much downtime. The people that traveled a little more in my same program, we kind of had our downtime in the evenings from Tuesday to Wednesday or to Thursday, where we would, go to the downtown of Bayonne and try to check out restaurants and go grocery shopping and maybe have a little more of the normal study abroad experience. But most of the time we were just going. It felt like a full 2 months of nonstop travel and new experiences, new cultures and everything. It was an awesome experience and I thought it was great, but I definitely think there is a lot of value to the downtime that you get when you are staying put in one place and able to spend the weekends exploring wherever you're studying abroad.
CJ or Micah, did either of you want to add to that since you both were enrolled in courses, taking courses abroad?
Yeah, I can. It was definitely different in Austria. They have timetables, and so you won't have the same class at the same time every time you go. So you'll have a class on, let's say, a Tuesday at 9 a.m. The next time you may have that class will be 2 weeks from now on a Wednesday evening. So it always changed, and you really had to pay attention to it. So our downtime kind of depended on the schedule for that week as far as class. Now, I too had a lot of downtime because each class, I think I only had maybe 4 sessions of each class the whole semester. And that's maybe my German class, maybe we met a few more times, but literally it was like once a week for every class. And so I did a lot of traveling as well in my downtime. And then when I wasn't traveling, I rode the bike around town a lot. They had the bikes kind of like how we doing here in Wichita, so you can ride around town. I always found myself in different stores and different things like that, talking to people. So it was a balance between doing homework and then just actually getting out, depending on whatever I had to do that week.
Mine was a lot more school, like just school. I did get to travel a little bit. I did have a little bit of downtime, but I personally took courses that I knew were going to be kind of heavy, just because I went there to specifically study art and Japanese. So, and also just my teachers were also very, I'm not going to say strict, but they were strict for lack of better word. And so we did have, a lot of coursework to do, especially for my manga drawing class. So my downtime was spent writing my manga for that class, and then traveling when I could.
Great, thanks guys. So for anyone who would like to answer, how did it feel leaving the country after being there for a long time?
I can go. It was sad. I'm still sad to this day, 100%. I knew after being there for only a week that that's where I wanted to actually live. So now I feel like I'm away from my home. It's kind of weird because you went to like a place that's completely new, and you know only what you know through research and maybe seeing it online and stuff. But now I feel like that is where I belong, and that's my whole, that's my home. That's where all my family is. That's where my friends are. It's sad.
I say we weren't there a long time, and it was still sad when we left.
Yeah, we took with us a lot of the teas that they specifically drink so that we could have it at home and kind of, relive the fond memories.
I was ready to come home. It was a long semester. I was ready to come home.
So the next
surprise. Oh, sorry.
No.
Something that surprised me coming home, like people always have like that one thing coming back into the US that's just weird to see again. And for me, it was walking off the airplane and seeing normal outlets on the walls and just being like, you don't have to use like a different adapter every country.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Like I'm home. So it's probably the weirdest thing for me. I wasn't ready to come home. Like I could have kept traveling for another 6 months, I think. But my body needed rest. I was very sick by the end of the summer.
Okay, the next question is a little bit about costs. So just to get an idea across the board, maybe we could have Benjamin and Maica answer the question to get an idea of both shorter and longer programs. What were the costs kind of associated with your program? Did you have scholarships, and what kind of spending money did you need while you were abroad?
We had scholarships that helped out a lot with ours. Even with that, I think the total cost for the program ended up coming up to like $1,600 a person before the scholarships. And for spending money, we just took like $100 US, which converted to per person, yeah. Which converted to, I think it was 6,000 Guarani, and
per dollar.
Yeah, and I mean, typical stuff you buy here in the States was about the same price down there, but like other little things were a lot cheaper. Food was a lot cheaper. Drinks were cheaper down there. Yeah.
We came home with a lot of tea.
Yeah, we came home with, we weren't even able to spend all of the Guarani we exchanged either.
So for mine, the cost was about the same as like the little sheet on the website. So it's about 13,000. But I did have scholarships that helped out with a lot of that. But what was kind of unexpected and like something that I didn't think about is how expensive fruit and vegetables were. So when I was shopping, we got given a stipend of $2,000 for food, but I used that $2,000 for traveling instead. So I bought eggs and rice, and that's what I lived on in Japan. Not even the cup ramen, it was eggs and rice because that was cheaper than the cup ramen. Because fruit like was so the conversion rate is 100 yen per dollar, so it's pretty even. It's like 0.98 something of a dollar or whatever. It's a little bit better over there. But fruit, like an apple, there was like these big apples and they were wrapped and they were gorgeous, but they were like 10, 15, $20 like for one apple. And so I never ate fruit except for the times when my roommate would bring fruit, and then I'd be like, please spare some fruit for me. But otherwise, like toothpaste and, you know, like toiletries and stuff was pretty average priced. I mean, it was about the same here. So I started off with 500, but I had like access to my bank account. So over there, they let you, if you have a Visa, you can access any 7-Eleven ATM. So I had my card and then also that 2,000 stipend from the school.
Great, thanks guys. This can be for whoever would like to answer. How did you get around the city and around the country?
So, oh, no, go ahead.
Okay. With the traveling that I did, we used all modes of transportation. A lot of flights, we used the airlines mainly. If we were to book a flight, we used the train, we used buses. I think for the time that we went to Switzerland, we took one of the city buses that we would use to go to school to get to a train station that would take us to Bordeaux to get a plane to Geneva, and then we rented a car there to go around Switzerland, and then we took an overnight bus from Geneva all the way back. So we used all forms of transportation, all much easier to use, like much more connected than in the US. It seemed like there's a lot more options, but just like around our town and, you know, to get other places in southwestern France, we mainly used the bus system. That was the city buses. They linked the several little areas that went out to the beaches.
For me, being here in America, I've always had a car. So once I got to Europe, I found out that traveling in Europe is an extreme sport because I wasn't prepared for it. So within the city, it was taxis, it was the bus, their transit there, and then whenever I was traveling to different countries, it was getting on trains, taking this train to get on that train, taking this taxi or this blah blah car to get to this one. It was an extreme sport. I'm so thankful for one of my good friends who actually is from WSU, who went on this program with me, Teresa, because without her, I probably wouldn't be back even now, because it was yeah. I gave up after like the first week of trying to navigate. It's a lot. That's one of those things that you have to laugh at yourself with.
For ours, our host family took us to and from the different events we needed to do for our seminar. Traffic laws down there are a suggestion, so I would advise against trying to drive in the capital of Paraguay.
Crazy. Wow.
I know some of the other group members that we went with actually kind of went out around the city and saw some things, and I think they, for the most part, did like Uber and taxis and stuff. We were actually recommended to not use the bus system that was down there just because of the complexity of it or something like that. So
I also believe the program that we participated in had an agreement with a taxi company, and we also were shuttled back and forth sometimes.
yeah.
In Japan, they have trains. It's trains. They're so great. They're so amazing. Navigating them is a little bit hard, but your Google Maps app is amazing too. But the trains, and then Shinkansen, which is a bullet train. I rode one bus the whole time I was there. The rest of it was trains and subways and the Shinkansen. And I would 10 out of 10 do that again. I hate driving, so it was my heaven. It was my paradise.
Okay.
Can I add one more thing, Kayla?
Sure, go ahead.
Walking. I can't believe I forgot that.
Yes.
Everywhere. That's your main form of transportation. We walked miles and miles and miles days. So just wanted to add that.
A lot of walking.
Okay, so we have tons of questions coming in. So this next one we'll just stick with 2 people to answer. What opinions did you have before you studied abroad that you found out to be false, if any?
For me, I figured once I got there, absolutely nobody was going to speak English, and that was absolutely not true. For Austria, everybody spoke English. Everybody spoke English well at that. So yeah, English pretty much most of the world speaks English. Pretty much is what I got from that.
Okay, for those of you who enrolled in courses at a university abroad, did you get to pick classes when you got there, or did you do that before you left? What kind of what did the enrollment process look
The Kansai Gaidai, they have a lottery system. So when you don't get to pick before you go, you have to wait till you get there. And then once you get there, they have like I think it was a week maybe, or maybe only like a few days, where you got to pick your courses, but it was first come, first serve. And they had you put, like they had certain electives, like everyone had to take a Japanese course. And then they had certain electives that you could pick, but you couldn't do like 2 studio arts unless you had a valid like reason, like I'm an art major. So you had to write that reason. It was kind of like strict, and a lot of people were disappointed with the courses. I got all of them that I wanted though, so.
Okay, thank you. For Lydia, how many different programs were there to choose from in France, or did you even know the different programs? Would you suggest the one that you went on, and how long would you suggest being in France?
So I hadn't really looked into many programs in France before choosing the PO program. I know that there is a program like during the school year where you're in PO France, and then there's also a program in Paris maybe. But my choice of this program wasn't because it was in France, it was more because of the length of the program and the time of year. And then the courses that were offered, they aligned with my degree, so I would still be getting classes that would help me towards graduation. So, that was kind of my decision to go to France. And I really did enjoy France a lot. I think it was a great place to study. The language is really pretty. It's fun to listen to like little children on school trips when you're out traveling and stuff, just like speaking French. They're so adorable. But that was kind of like my reason for choosing it. I would definitely stay longer if I could have, but I think that the 6 weeks that we studied in France was a decent amount of time to get a lot of experiences. What my program was structured around was working for a local French winery. We did some consulting work for them on possible exportation to other countries, and we were able to drop, a full business plan, like give them specific actionable items that they could do and, make connections for them within the new market that we were suggesting. So I think because of that program, like I really am happy with, or that part of the program, I'm really happy with what I chose, just because it was such a great opportunity for me as a business student, and getting to know more about the French wine industry is always fun. But yeah, I would have definitely stayed longer if I could have. So.
Okay, thank you. For 2 people that would like to answer, did you have to get a SIM card for your cell phone?
No, I didn't. I have AT&T, and so AT&T has, and I can't remember what it's called. They have a international package that I got. I had to get a different phone number, but I just went through AT&T and kept my same phone and everything.
I didn't either. I have Sprint, and they had like a pay $5 a month for international to like specific countries, and Japan was one of those countries. So.
Okay, thanks guys. What was your favorite food abroad?
Bayou. It's like kind of like a flatbread, loose corn meal quesadilla.
And they had the best beef because their beef came from Argentina, so everything was grass-fed.
Yeah, phenomenal beef.
Amazing.
tonkatsu. It's a fried pork cutlet on rice with egg and green onion. And the egg was barely cooked, so it was almost raw. And that sounds gross, but it was.
For the two of you that just answered it, did you feel that it was difficult to adjust to the new food?
The coffee was a little bit difficult at first, but by the time we left, we had gotten used to it. So then we had to reacclimate to our coffee at home. But I think that was about the only thing. It wasn't, I mean, it was food. So
I think we struggled getting our coffee here to be strong enough.
yeah.
A little bit, yes, because the Japanese like to eat a lot of raw stuff, raw fish, raw egg. Fermented bean sprouts are disgusting. So there was a lot of foods that I was kind of like, but I tried them, but yeah, it was hard a little bit.
Okay, thank you guys. How did you keep in contact with your family? Two people, whoever would like to answer.
WhatsApp. Everybody down in at least our part of Latin America used a program called WhatsApp. It uses Wi-Fi, so we did not have international coverage on our cell phone plans. Everybody down there, every restaurant had Wi-Fi with their password and everything, and so we were able to do that and keep in touch with everybody back home.
So it's a free program. You just have your friends and family download it so you can still call and talk to each other as much as you want for free.
Yeah, I think it's one of the companies of Facebook.
Yeah.
I did video chat a lot with my parents just because only speaking over the phone wasn't enough to keep me feeling like I wasn't, slightly homesick. So we would do video calls through Facebook Messenger. The Wi-Fi was pretty good where I was too. I did have service, but the international calling on a SIM card, I got a new SIM card, and the international calling with it just cost more than I wanted to pay. So we mainly did that.
Okay, and we're actually going to wrap it up with this last question. It's pretty perfect. Do you guys plan on studying abroad again?
I'm actually going to go live in the country that I studied abroad. So since this is my last semester, I graduate at the end of the semester. I'm applying for a job in Japan, but even if I don't get it, my fiance is from Japan, so he's over there. So either way, I'm going back.
I'm actually graduated, so I'm old now. So I'm not studying anywhere, but I would love to go back, definitely.
My wife's actually graduating this semester, so I think without being able to do a study abroad with her, I'm not going to do one on my own, but definitely more international travel is in our future.
Yeah, I probably won't be able to study abroad either before I graduate, but my experience last summer really gave me a lot more confidence in doing international travel on my own, and I know I'm going to do that more in the future. A job that I am going to go into after college has a lot of international connections, a lot of locations in other countries. So that's definitely something I'm looking into right as I start the job, saying, hey, I want to go to a different country and work there. Let me know when there's opportunities, because going and studying somewhere and having that support system that you get through study abroad really does help make you feel comfortable in doing it on your own and having a life of travel after that.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for all of your great advice and answering all of the questions. And thank you to everyone for submitting great questions. I think we got some great information.